Good evening, everyone. Again, those of you that heard this speech, thank you for being patient. As we come in, you may hear some dinging in the background. That's just me clicking on the screen, admitting people. I apologize for the technical difficulty. We were trying to live stream it so that we wouldn't have to worry about numbers, but we since have changed over to a Google Meet, which actually allows up to 250 people. I was expecting possibly a few more, but I wasn't sure. So once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the parent orientation officially this time. I'm Dr. Michael Cerrusi, the principal here at Ram Middle School. Tonight you're going to hear a little bit about, you're going to get a broad overview of the middle school and the opportunities and supports that we have to offer to help your child be successful here at Ram. For those of you who are parents of first-time students, welcome. You're going to be in for a nice ride over the next couple years. You know, I repeated this earlier. I said the children that come through the middle school have to they have to get used to 8 different teachers, 5 core subjects, 2 unified arts classes, and all the homework and all the organization that goes along with it. And at times it can be challenging for both the teachers, both the students, teachers, and even the parents. We know that all these kids are very energetic and they can be challenges for teachers and parents alike, but they come to us as incoming 7th graders, and by the time they leave us, we're very confident that they have the skills to be successful at the high school. One of the things I talked about earlier, actually I'll repeat now, is that I want everybody to remember, please, we cannot do this alone. We're all partners in your child's academic, social, emotional growth and development. I do have to stress that we are partners in helping your child achieve their full potential. And from experience, we know that success is based on good communication between students, you, the parents, and your child's teachers. Unlike the principal who's having technical difficulties, things go a lot smoother during the normal course of the day. So please get involved, ask questions, come to parent meetings, which are virtual at the moment. Volunteer, email us or call us if you ever have any questions or concerns. Hopefully most of you received the Raptor report last week. This report that was sent out to you was customized for 6th grade parents. And we will be sending out another Raptor report next month with a little more information about summer reading and summer math, along with some other information that you'll need going basically for before the fall. We do send the report out at the middle school during the school year once a week, every Friday, or I should say most Fridays. If you did not receive the Raptor report, our newsletter, please contact the main office or Ms. Bullier in guidance, because that either means we don't have your correct email or your child is not correctly registered in the system. I know that your emails are working right now, only because if I just sent everybody one through our system here. So if you know of anybody who did not get in because they didn't get the email or a link, please let them know to give us a call. I know one of the major questions over the summer, or going into the summer, is what will next year look like? It's a real difficult question for me to answer right now, as probably you would surmise, in the fact that our intent is to go back to a normal 8-period day schedule, keeping many of the current health and safety protocols in place. We will, of course, send out updates over the summer. Please make sure you check your email on a regular basis. Sometimes emails fly once a week, sometimes they fly out twice a week, depending on what's going on over the summer. And then the other place you can find this information is also on our website. We publish on our website any of the emails that we send out, or any of the major schedule changes or changes that we do here at RAM, we'll send out through the website as well. I'm going to leave with one last thought, then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Bell, who will talk about transitions again. Actually, I didn't even click on my slide. Let me move my slide up a little. This slide sort of describes me right now, thinking about what happened with technology and all the issues that went around. But again, when you talk about middle school, there's a lot of times we think of kids that are really, we don't know what they're thinking or why they're thinking it. So just sort of one last thought. Success at the middle school is also a result of high quality teaching, which results in long-term learning. Our teachers at Ram Middle School are an awesome bunch. They make learning fun and interesting. They help kids discover rather than memorize. They connect the meaning between subjects. They are truly preparing students being lifelong learners and global citizens. I want to thank you for listening to me. You listened to me twice again. And I'll now turn it over to Ms. Bell, who will talk a little bit more about transitions.
Good evening, everyone. I am Carrie Ann Bell, the assistant principal at Ram Middle School. Thank you all for coming. I guess the only nice thing about being virtual, I know it's a little crazy getting on here, is at least with the nasty weather outside, you didn't have to leave your coziness homes. But welcome tonight. We have been through a lot of transitions, as you know, this past year. It has been a crazy time for us all, transitioning to remote learning, transitioning to hybrid, now back to full return. And I know the transition from elementary to middle school is a big one. It's a nerve-wracking one, an exciting one for you and your children. And we have a lot of activities to help you and your children make that transition as smooth as possible as they enter the middle school. Roadshow, we had a roadshow. Hopefully your kids came home, maybe talked about it a little bit. Our school counselors, Alicia Gove and Christy Litz, and myself met with all the students and teachers in the elementary schools. We kind of had our own little presentation where we kind of went over different things about the middle school, schedules, activities, a little bit like some pictures of important people, and they got to ask a lot of questions and hopefully got to answer a lot of their questions about what the middle school may be like next year. So we were able to do that the past 2 weeks. Tonight is the parent orientation, which is for all of you. So you can get some information as well about the middle school, what it's like a little bit, and what you're going to look forward to as, again, you and your children come into us in the fall. In about mid-October, your child will get their schedule. It's always an exciting day when the mail comes. They get their schedule to find out what team they're on, what classes they have, what friends will be with them. Those will be about mid-August, those come out. And then we have specific days called walk-around days where the school building is open throughout the summer, and we're hopeful it will be open for kids to come in and be able to come in at any time to walk around the school, walk their schedule, find their lockers, if we have lockers next year, and kind of just go through the school building to get comfortable with it. These two specific days, August 19th and August 24th, are 2 days where we have, we set up some tour guides. We have some of our 8th graders come in who can be there to walk the schedules with your child, show them around, answer some questions. Myself and Dr. Cerrusi are in the building. Sometimes teachers come in those days, so they might be able to meet some teachers. And our school counselors are there as well if there's any scheduling questions. So those are 2 specific days that just have a little bit extra, but again, we're hopeful they can come in at any time and walk their schedules. They need to come in 5 times, come in 5 times, whatever makes them comfortable. And again, you'll get some of that information over the summer. Very important date, first day of school, Thursday, September 2nd, and we are hopeful that it'll be semi-normal and we'll all be back in the building on that date. It's right before Labor Day weekend, so it's a nice 2-day week to kind of get them in. The next week is 4 days, and then we transition into 5 days. We usually host some sort of team building day for the students. We know we are coming from 3 different towns, Hebron, Andover, Marlboro now becoming Ram. So we want a day for the students to be with their teams where they can meet one another, learn some names, meet their teachers, get to really know one another. So it's usually a mix of indoor-outdoor activities, some games. Sometimes we have some either 8th graders or freshmen or sophomores come down, talk a little bit about how I survived middle school, some good things to know. It's just a great day all around, and we'll be planning that for them probably in the first, not the first 2 days, but usually that first week of school. If we can have dances, which I hope we do, if we can have dances, we usually have a 7th grade only Get Acquainted dance, which is just for the 7th graders. It's after school, it's free, and we want them to come just to have a little fun, to, you know, see their old friends. Maybe they met some new friends they can introduce to each other. We have great DJs that come and do fun activities and line dances and games with the kids. It's just a great social time for them. Again, hopefully we can have that. I think for these kids, it'd be great to have something social as well, with the craziness of the last year. But again, we'll get more information on that as the fall comes in and where we're kind of at that point. And then we have an open house. The open house is for you, the parents. This past year we had it virtually. Not sure if it'd be virtual or in school, but the point of open house is kind of either walk your kid's schedule if you're in the building, but at least get to meet all your child's teachers, get to meet the teams, learn a little bit what their classes are going to be like and how it's going to be for that school year. Again, we know it's a big transition from elementary to middle. I am just transitioning. I just transitioned my oldest into high school this year. My youngest is going from 8th to 9th next year. So I have lived through these middle school years. It has been great. But we are all here to help. Everyone you meet tonight is someone that you can go to, ask questions, and be helpful for. And again, we appreciate your patience with tonight. This is kind of where we stop. So you didn't miss too much, and we're going to continue on. It looks like we have a lot of you here. I'm going to now turn it over to one of our school counselors, Christy Litz, who will talk a little bit about the role of a school counselor. Enjoy your evening.
Hi, everyone. So as school counselors, we assist students in a variety of different ways. We listen to their concerns regarding their grades, emotions, or social problems that they might be having, and we work with them to not only develop goals and strategies to work through them, and as well as become successful middle school students. We really, when we call them down, it's really for anything. They're never in trouble. We love to tell our students that anytime they come down, they always think that they're in trouble and they come in all trembling like they did something wrong. So we really try to, you know, from day one, really try and foster a really good relationship with our students so they're not afraid to come down whenever we might see them. Next, we have my co-counselor, Alicia Goff.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Goff. Another one of the school counselors. So middle school, the 2 years we have your kids are big years. There's a lot of growing, changing in those 2 years. I have an 8th grade son, and I have a daughter who's a sophomore in high school in another town, but I've been there, I've done that. So I'm with you in the trenches. So really what we expect out of middle schoolers is for them to become independent and self-advocates. That is huge. That is really what we're working on with your kids. In elementary school, I know that, you know, you're in touch with the teacher, you're emailing, you're having phone conversations frequently. If there's a missing assignment, like you email the teacher and ask about it. What we're really looking for out of your middle schoolers is for them to be their own self-advocates, for them to reach out to their teacher, for them to ask for that help. To become more independent learners. So that's our goal for your kids in the 2 years that we have them. So when they move on to high school, they're set and ready to go on their own. Homework, you know, there's lots of ways that homework is shown to the kids. Obviously, it's in their Google Classrooms right now, but it's also, each team has their own homework website where they can go and check out what the homework is for the week. We strongly suggest that kids utilize those ways to access homework. You know, if they're unsure of what homework is, again, self-advocating, reaching out to a teacher on their own through email is perfect, or even during the end of class time or their intervention lab. But again, getting them to be independent and self-advocates. Organization is something that we really work on with middle schoolers too. You know, the homework level steps up in middle school. There's more long-term projects, and we really want students to try to manage their time or work on managing their time a little bit better. So using Google Keep or Google Classroom, which is things we'll talk about with them, using a planner, writing things down, using time management skills and organization is key in middle school. So again, as school counselors, that's something that we can work on with your kids if they're struggling with that, and your teachers will work with them too. But organization is definitely key to getting everything done and on time. If your child is going to be absent, if they know ahead of time, we really suggest that they at least let the teacher know in person or via email so they can get whatever work they might be missing. If they are absent during the day, we ask them to, again, self-advocate, go up to that teacher when they're back in school, find out what they've missed, email the teacher when they're feeling better, find out what they've missed, but really self-advocate and be independent. And another thing that's good for you to know is that we do use a program called Naviance. And Naviance is used for a lot of things, but once we have your child create a Naviance account in grade 7, that account is going to follow them all the way through high school. And that's where we keep something called their student success plan, which is like little tasks that we have them do from the start of 7th grade all the way through their senior year of high school. In 7th and 8th grade, we use it for some small lessons about careers and career researching, setting goals and things like that. But as they move on into high school, they use it for some things like the college application process, scholarships and things like that. So when you hear Naviance or that we're doing a Naviance lesson, that's kind of what it is. So I guess that's it for my part. So next, I think I'm going to introduce, who's after me?
Hi, I'm Julie Schiffer, and I'll be going next. I think it's actually the next slide. There we go. All right. So good evening. I am Julie Schiffer, Red Team Leader. Tonight, I would like to talk about some resources available to you as a parent. One resource you have as a parent is the team website, which includes general information and the weekly assignments. It is also a link to the Unified Arts page for additional information. This is located under the Team tab on the RAM Middle School homepage. Another resource is Google Classroom. Right now we're using it for everything, but as students are coming back in full time, it will be used to convey the daily assignments for each teacher. The classroom contains links to various resources which are used. These resources would include examples of Google Docs, Google Slides, and other electronic resources. Attendance. If your child is going to be absent, there are a few ways to communicate this. On the RAM Middle School web homepage, there's a link under the Parents tab titled Attendance Report Form. With this, an absence can be reported. Another method to report an absence is to call the school. If a call is made, it must be followed up with a note when the child returns to school. Either of these methods must be completed by 8:30 a.m. Parent Portal is a great resource to monitor your child's progress. This shows the student's class schedule, grades, attendance, and report card. The information will be coming mid-September. And if during the year you have any questions, please feel free to contact your child's school counselor. Also, if you have any concerns or questions, please reach out to the teachers. We are all in this together and would like to help however we can. And next, I'd like to introduce Kristen Lynch to discuss teams.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, I'm Kristen Lynch. I am the Gold Team Science teacher and team leader. I just wanted to give a little bit of information about what a middle school team really is. A middle school team is an interdisciplinary team of teachers who teach the same set of students. So on every 7th grade team, there is a support services teacher, social studies, English, reading, math, and science. And all of the students on that team have those teachers for their core subjects, and they also share a school counselor. The advantage of having teams is it kind of gives students a little community within the larger RAM community. They get to make some close friendships with students on their team that may or may not have been from their town. Often they share at least 1 or 2 core classes throughout the day with some of the same students. So they really form some nice relationships with them. Teaching on a team, teachers can integrate curriculum between subjects. For instance, on Gold Team right now, Mr. Heb, the social studies teacher, was teaching students about Syrian refugee crisis. And the English teacher, Mrs. Day, is currently working on a novel with the students called Nowhere Boy, which is about a middle school aged Syrian refugee child who's trying to make his way in Belgium. So they've kind of tied that together, which is really nice. We have a team website that we update. Mrs. Schiffer mentioned it. Every team has the team website. We post our homework weekly at the beginning of the week. We also put announcements on there. And you will also see team leaders usually send home pretty frequent, just kind of email updates. So it's important to make sure that the school does have your correct email address. Teachers on the core team are able to meet together once a day during a common team planning period. So during this time, we're able to talk about student concerns, talk about issues that we're seeing. A student might be behaving one way or struggling in one class but not another class. So teachers are able to help each other out with different strategies that are working for them with that particular student or group of students. It's also a time when parents can set up team meetings to come in. Well, this year it's been virtual, but in a typical year, you would come in and sit in the same room with all the teachers of the team. So that is still available next year, whether it is in person or virtual. So it's a great time to talk about concerns, and you have a nice whole class period, 42 minutes in a typical year, to discuss how your child is progressing with all of the teachers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heidi Byrne. I am a math teacher and team leader for the Inquiry team, the Inquiry Academy. So as Mrs. Lynch was just talking about teams, the Inquiry team is a little bit different than the other teams. We're the same in a lot of ways. We have the core teachers who work with the same group of students. One thing that makes our team a little bit different is we have 7th and 8th graders on our team, whereas the other teams are 1 grade. We're like a little school within a school. One thing that makes our team different is we have a genius hour period in the day. Students have one period of their day where they can research and learn about any topic they choose. And then they take that research, they put together a presentation of some kind, and they share it with other students and teachers on the team. We've learned about some amazing things. This year we've learned about black holes, we've learned about the science of baking, we've learned about how to get past writer's block when you're writing a novel. We've had a demonstration on dog training where a student actually brought her dog in and showed what she had trained the dog to do. We had a student who researched Beethoven and then gave a little concert so we could understand the music and the different aspects of the music. So all kinds of interesting things where students are researching their own thing, but then they're learning about what other students are researching as well. Our schedule is a little bit more flexible. Our classes are scheduled so that if our social studies teacher decides that he needs a little extra time to do a project or a demonstration or a lesson, we can kind of shuffle our classes around a little bit. More project-based learning. I know our English teacher has done a Poe project where students, after learning about Poe and reading some Edgar Allan Poe works, take what they've learned and they can present it in any number of ways. Some students have taught classes, some have made parodies of Poe works, all kinds of different things. So there's lots of choice in how they demonstrate their learning. Definitely an interdisciplinary focus. Other teams do the same thing. We have a homelessness unit that we often do where we have some speakers come in. Students learn about budgets in math class. They learn about nutrition in science class. They do some writing in English class. It all kind of ties together. Definitely a focus on independent learning and critical thinking. Lots of working together with other students. But what we do have in common with all the other teams in the building is that we're all teaching students, having students master the same standards. So they walk out the door with the same skills. This is a program that students apply for, and we have taken applications for this year already. We do have room for more. So if this is sounding interesting to you and you're thinking, oh, I wish I knew about it sooner, no worries. The application can still be found on the on Rams Middle School's homepage under the parent tab. You do have to scroll down because it's down quite a ways, but it is there. Or if you have questions about that, you can call the school. But if you're interested, please take a look at the application and send it on in. And so I'm going to introduce to you Angela Shabazian. She is one of our Spanish teachers, and she's going to talk to you about our unified arts.
Good evening. So yeah, I'm going to take this time to really focus in and give you a good perspective on the unified arts classes that your child will be taking next year in 7th grade in particular. We offer a lot of different types of classes. Students also have some choice in the types of unified arts classes that they can take. So pretty much the breakdown is that there's 3 periods built into your child's schedule dedicated for unified arts classes. So for one of those periods, students will be taking PE for half of the year and world language for the other half of the year. For another period, students will take 1 quarter of computer sciences, 1 quarter of health, and then we'll have the opportunity to choose either general music or personal wellness for the 3rd class there for 1 quarter, and then another choice between art or digital art for another quarter. For the final period, students can be in both band and chorus, or they could choose either to take band. For the final period, students can be in band and chorus, or can be in band or chorus accompanied by an intervention. So an intervention period is the last period in your child's day. This is period 8. And so what happens for an intervention is that students are assigned a classroom with a teacher. They have some time to start some of their homework assignments or get some extra help. So for that period 8 class, right, they could either, like I said before, I wanted to explain a little bit about what intervention was. But again, that students can take either band and chorus, or could take one or the other accompanied by that intervention period. The music teachers really wanted me to emphasize tonight that all skill levels are welcomed and encouraged to join for next year. They understand that it's been a tough year and students may have needed to sacrifice music for various reasons. So please encourage your child to join band and or chorus. They're more than happy to help your child improve upon their skills and feel comfortable and confident in participating in various ensembles offered. I just wanted to quickly mention that a description of each of the unified arts classes can be found in the middle school guide to programs handout, which was sent out to families. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have enough time tonight to really describe each unified arts classes. We do offer a bunch, but if you're looking for further detail of the unified arts classes that are offered here at RAM, you can find more information there. So I would like to now turn it over to Amy Golis, who will be discussing SRBI.
Yes, thank you, Angela, so much for all that information about our UA programs that are amazing, and world language teachers who do a wonderful job every year. For those of you that might have a new incoming 6th grader, if you do not have a sibling who has already come through our middle school, we do want to let you know that your child is going to be monitored and checked and paid attention to from the minute they get into our school. I'm sorry, excuse me. So here on the slide, you can see things that say things like universal screenings, benchmark assessments, progress monitoring. So if your student comes in next year and says, oh my gosh, we had another thing in math today, we had something in English, this is us trying to figure out where they stand and what interventions we might need to put into place. So we do have tiered interventions, and like we said, this is the SRBI process. This is scientifically research-based interventions. So we have things like Tier 1, which are available to all students. They're standard in-class interventions and support. So these are the things like checking in and asking students to repeat directions and making sure that they're comfortable with what they're doing. But if we do notice that a student is continuing to have trouble and has some kind of barrier to success, we might implement some targeted interventions. And this might be as simple as our PM study program, which runs, this year is running in the evenings virtually. It might be a math intervention, it might be a literacy intervention. And so this is just where they get pulled into a smaller group to focus in on the skills that they might need help with. If they continue to have difficulty, and we do monitor them, like Ms. Lynch said in our team meetings, we talk about them every week and we see what's going on. If we need to move to a Tier 3, which is a highly individualized type of educational plan, we will do that. And we will be in contact with you the entire time. Your child's team, your child's guidance counselor, all of the other guidance supports, admin will be paying attention to your child for academic, social, emotional, and behavioral. So even if you start to notice something different, you know, the teenage years can be very different. Your child can become a different student than what you're used to. You can contact your counselor, your team, admin, whoever it needs to be, and we can implement this process. Excuse me. So like I said, we review students receiving these supports. If we don't review them every week, we're reviewing them every other week. And with luck, the interventions are successful and are able to help your student get over whatever, as we call it, whatever speed bump might be in their way. But if we do need to put in additional supports, we put in additional supports, and we will be in open communication with parents and with the student and with guidance and with everybody. And you might receive letters, you might receive emails that will be going over the implementation of those interventions, their success, or things that we might need to put into place that might be a little bit more intensive. So trust us, if your student has, you know, whatever it might happen to be that hampers them from reaching their potential, we will be looking at that, and we'll be working with them and helping them to reach their full potential. You know, as I tell my 8th graders, I'm 8th grade English teacher, I say, you know, it's my job to get you ready for 9th grade English, you know, and we do that from day one, 7th and 8th grade. You know, our 7th grade teachers get our kids ready for 8th grade, 8th grade gets ready for 9th grade, and your kids are our first priority all the time, and we want you to know that. So never hesitate to reach out to us for any support or any questions, or if you notice a change in behavior or academic routines or things like that. We are happy to help you in any single way we can. So please reach out. We will reach out. You know, we call it, you know, the triangle. You know, you have the student, you have us, and we've got you. So, you know, we'll close that off and make sure that we're all on the same page. With that being said, just a quick kind of like little update there. I'm going to turn things over to Caitlin Morse, our school nurse, and she can provide you guys with updates on what is going to happen as you enter 7th grade.
Thank you, Amy. So as Amy mentioned, I'm Caitlin Morse, the middle school nurse. I'm just going to go over a couple health requirements that need to be met prior to entering RAM. I did put my email at the top of the slide in case you have any questions. Either now or in the future, you can email me. The first requirement is for immunizations. The immunization requirement has to be met prior to the first day of 7th grade. They need to receive a second vaccine against measles, 2 doses of the varicella vaccine or documentation that they've had disease. the adolescent Tdap booster, and 1 dose of the meningococcal vaccine. If your child has a religious or medical exemption, that also needs to be handed in prior to the first day of school. On the RAM website, if you go to the Teams tab, there's a health office tab there that you can click on, and the medical and religious exemption forms are under there. They do need to be filled out by the parent and notarized prior to the first day of school. If the student has received any of these immunizations already, you can send in the documentation to the elementary school nurse, and they'll place it in the file, and it will come to RAM during the summer. So you don't need to send it to me now because I don't have their file yet. The next requirement is the physical exam, which can be completed during their 6th or 7th grade school year. So it has to be dated July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2022. Sports, I'm not going to really go into much detail because the athletic director will send out information at the beginning of the school year, but students do need to have a physical less than 13 months old during the sports season to be able to participate. And registration is done through a website called Family ID where you can update the physical right onto the website. And again, Dan Trudeau would send information at the beginning of the school year for sports. The child's health record, which is on file currently at the elementary school, will automatically be sent to RAM when they're promoted. Another side note, if your student takes any daily medication or has any EpiPens or inhalers that they'll need while they're at RAM, there is a form on the health office page that needs to be filled out by the physician. And again, if you have any questions, you can email me and I can get you some answers. I think I'm going to be passing it on to Kara Dwyer to talk about after school involvement in special activities.
Thank you, Caitlin. So I'm Kara Dwyer, the Green Team team leader and the English teacher on Green Team. I wanted to tell you that we have lots of after-school activities that we encourage kids to get involved in. As you've already heard from a number of our staff, the middle school is really a unique opportunity to make friends from 3 different towns. Whether your child plays a sport or joins one of the many, many clubs we offer after school. It helps your child with social emotional growth and learning more independence. There are a wide variety of activities, really something for everyone. It also teaches leadership skills. We also have a number of programs after school for academic assistance. Amy Golis already mentioned the PM study program, which we sometimes place kids into if they're having difficulty keeping up with homework and classwork assignments, or maybe they need a quiet place that's monitored after school, and teachers are available to help them during that time. We also have a writing lab and a math lab that meet once a week to assist students if they're having difficulties in either any of their math classes or any of their English classes, or they're writing a paper for social studies even. And please know that the teachers are always available for extra help. Typically, because many of our teachers also have young families and their own activities after school, extra help does need to be set up ahead of time. And please reach out if you have any questions about after school activities. Next up is Mrs. Dandan, our social worker.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dee Dee Dandan. I'm the social worker at RAM. I'm located in the guidance department, and I work really close with the rest of guidance, our school counselors, our AHM counselor, and our school psychologists. We are able to do a lot of collaboration with the teams and the rest of the staff through our team meetings. We do our best to be proactive and identify students in need of support early on. We are able to offer short-term and long-term counseling support, and that can be either with myself, the school psychs, or with the school counselors. It can also be on a weekly, every other week, or consult and as-needed basis. We really try to emphasize the importance of homeschool communication. So if there's something going on at home, we want you to let us know. And if there's something going on at school, we absolutely reach out to parents and let you guys know, so that we can be in touch and make sure that the best approach is taken to make sure that your student is successful at middle school. It's helpful to make us aware of anything going on, as well as look for any changes in behavior at school. We can offer the support early on before that your student becomes overwhelmed. And we can also monitor if there's something going on at home, like a family illness or some kind of other stressor. Middle school is a transitional time where it can be exciting, but it can also be a time of stress. We're bringing 3 towns together. Friendships begin to change. You might get separated from your friends and be on a different team. This is also a time when students start to explore dating. There's the social media challenges. The school schedule is a change in itself from elementary school because students are going from class to class. There's also a change in academic expectations. That definitely looks a little bit different in middle school, and they're expected to be a little bit more independent. There's an increased need for organizational skills and time management skills. This may also be the first time that your student is trying out for a sport. Some things to look out for to identify if your student may be dealing with too much stress that we can offer support around are stomach aches, nausea, disruption in sleep schedule, impacting attendance. We can also talk to you and your child about what supports are available for them at school as well as in the community. Some of our students may already be working with outside providers. We are happy to collaborate with everyone involved to ensure we provide the recommended support at school so they're successful. We can reinforce coping skills and assist with problem solving and reinforce self-advocacy skills in the academic setting. It takes a village. We're excited to become part of that village, get to know your child, and help them grow through their journey at Ram Middle School. And now back to Michael.
Thank you, everyone. I know a couple people may have questions. Please, if you have questions, email us. Email the school counselors or administration. We'll try to answer them as best we can. It would be difficult for us right now. I see on here we have like 120 people. That'd be a little difficult for us to respond to every question at the moment. But if you do have a question, I saw one pop up, 1 or 2, please let us know, and we'll try to answer that for you. I do want to thank everybody again for your patience. It's a little frustrating and getting flustered here, trying to work the technology and trying to get everything all set. We thought we had everything all lined up. Obviously, things went south quickly, and I appreciate your patience and the fact that we have your emails. We were able to get the link out very quickly. The important dates to remember, besides September 2nd, which is the first day of school, that's a really important date for all 7th graders. But the other one is probably right around mid-August, you'll receive your schedules. And you can expect somewhere around then you'll get a notice. It'll be out in the Raptor report that the schedules have been mailed out, or an email blast will be sent out. Schedules have been mailed out. It does take a little while for the different towns to get the schedules. It doesn't happen all at the same time. For whatever reason, sometimes Marlboro takes a little bit longer than Andover, or Hebron is the last to get it, even though we drop it off in the post office. I've been told that our mail has to go from the post office to Hartford back to here. So depends on the round trip. Sometimes it goes directly and sometimes it doesn't. So again, that's mid-August. Walk around days will also be in August, and we start school on September 2nd. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for attending tonight's virtual meeting. We'll see you all soon. Bye.
Do you want to stop recording, Michael?